Hey, shalom, 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 y'all. Welcome to the Manna Cafe. I'm one of your hosts, Reggie Kodesh, and to my right,
Shalom, shalom, my king, family, Ak Leo.
and to my left.
Shalom. Go by Wizza or Wiz or Z.
We have a little special guest panel today. On the panel today, Nate.
Shalom, sunshine.
Hey, nice to meet you. All right. So we got an interesting episode. Those who may have tuned in last week, or 2 weeks ago, we had some technical difficulties with that. We were trying to work out getting the audio, so we will eventually, if Yahuwah wills, have the audio out for everybody to be able to at least hear it. The wicked one was working, I have to say, the last couple of weeks. Last week, I had a situation. We had, I'm actually turn it over to Wiz on this one because people might not know, of course, being not from the Lansing area, but we had the city had a loss that they, Lacaz, so may he rest.
The city definitely took a hard one on that one. He's a very well known guy, and everybody that knew him, knew he was a stand up guy. So yeah. And from there on, what we're gonna do now is we're probably going to do some testimonies.
Yep. Today it was we were talking about it, and we've had a couple episodes under our belt. We gave a lot of information out in the last few episodes, but we were thinking man, we didn't really let anybody know about us. How we came into the truth and where we are in our journey and whatnot. So we figured, today's episode, let those that attend and view, let them give a little bit of insight, a little about us. So I guess first off, we're gonna kick it off to Wizard. We're gonna let Wizard tell his testimony.
All right, bet. So as in coming into the truth, back in the days we used to do music. As a matter of fact, I think that's how me and Reggie met. And it's doing kind of worldly music, if you call it that. And so, a lot of clubs, a lot of bars, Then one day, something happened. I had a question. I was trying to figure out what the meaning of life is. What's the purpose, And I got led to the scriptures. Now, in the past, I've read, the whole book from front page all the way to the back at least 3 times, But this time was different. It basically came alive. It started to make a lot more sense. And so ever since then, that's been the cornerstone, so to speak, in daily life dealings and things of that nature. So yeah, came to the truth, and around the same time, me and Reggie were talking, and we basically came to kind of the same conclusion about the weight that the scriptures hold, and haven't turned back ever since.
Faustin of the Most High.
Right.
That about basically around sums it up?
I could throw some more details in there about the craziness and insanity that kind of ensued. A lot of things changed, so I decided to put the music on a back burner for a while, and do some more studying, because as profound as the word is, it definitely needed my whole attention. And so it's been consuming the word ever since,
What's up? Yeah, what's up? All esteemed to the Most High. That what I'm saying. He allows the eyes to be open. As it even in Scripture says, many are called, few are chosen. And so it's beautiful to know that you've been called and you've been chosen, and more so that when with us we're coming into the truth that where people don't hear it. Because when it's associated with the Bible, usually the Bible is always tied to Christianity, right, and tied to a religion. but not looked at as a lot of times it's not looked at as the way it really is written, and it's a culture. It's about a nation of people. So it's beautiful that we're able to actually come out and see it for what it really is. The Most High, through His Spirit, allowed us to see it for what it really is, and
definitely a blessing.
So yeah, definitely a blessing. So I guess with that being said, we gonna turn the testimony over to Ak Leo. We're gonna let him go ahead and share his why he came in the truth and how he came in the truth.
Yeah, because mine's pretty deep, you know what I'm saying? But a little sidebar, you know what I'm saying? I just wanted to give a shout out to Akanal, Must Go Get It Music, you know what I'm saying? That hooked me up with the headband here, I just wanted to show something real quick, you know what I'm saying? I get me a little backpack.
It's that Must Go Get It. Shout out to Akanal for doing this thing. He down there in Atlanta.
Y'all gotta get this album. Lover Not a Fighter. You know what I'm saying? 11 tracks, very exclusive. I highly recommend buying it. It's a good all around, boys.
Get that positive truth music in you. You know what I'm saying? They've been putting too much music in the air that's wicked. It's been destroying people. It's negative. So we gotta bring this back. We gotta use this music for righteousness. So shout out to the Ak, for doing that.
Facts,
so
yeah. But yeah, other than that, get into my testimony because mine is pretty deep. Because I did come from that. Listen to the type of music that will inspire people to do the wrong thing and get into our neighborhoods and stuff like that. It started maybe like about 2 years ago, you could say.
3 years ago,
3 years ago, something like that. It was crazy because I was going through something at that time, and I was working for a Chinese delivery spot, and I wasn't really making that much bread like that, so I had to get up out of there, and I was in a tough situation. So I started looking for the couple jobs and had two options. One was $30 an hour, and one was $12.50 an hour. The $30 an hour one was like an hour away. I didn't have a car. I didn't want to have my man drive an hour away to take me there, So I'm like, let me try this one out, It's a dealership. I had some experience in cars and changing oil and stuff. So it's like, why not? I'm going to be able to get this. I get there, man. And I'm getting shook and jived. I'm not even going to lie. I sat there for an hour. The advisor woman told me, sit down, somebody will be with you. It was an hour or two. I asked her again. She just said, sit down. I'm not going to cap. I left. I whole left. The manager called me back like, hey, like literally as soon as I touched down at the crib, I got a phone call. He was like, hey, where'd you go? And I was like, man, it was 2 hours. I mean, I know I need a job, but that deep, I could have found another job within that time, So he was like, well, I really need you, so please come back. I'm like, all right, I'll give it a chance. Tell me why I get there, man. Another hour. Another hour. So here's the crucial part right here. I was going to leave. My friend was right outside the door. Right outside, waiting for me, I was just going to leave. I was like, he already waited so much, man. It's too much. But here's the turning part. Something told me to go back and ask, which I realized was the Most High at this point, which I was so hesitant to leave it, but I was like, let me give it a try. I walk in. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. All these people that were shaking and jiving me were, it was a very much Caucasian building. You know what I'm saying? So I felt some type of way about it. I'm like, okay. And a brother walked up out of nowhere. His name was Thomas. I'll never forget him. I kind of grew up a little bit, so I'm like, maybe he might help me out a little more. I asked him, and he comes back with my aunt right here. Actually, and I'm just like, yo, man, I've been trying to get this interview, be a lube tech and this and that. Can you help me out? Come on, this man come back in like 3 minutes with the manager and set everything up, got the job and everything. I'm just like, wow, that's cool. I looked at the advisor room like, oh yeah, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, sitting there for hours, but you couldn't get up and get. It is what it is, But all in all, I get this job. And I had so many questions at this time, but I was still in the world, and everything got quiet for a second. The one thing I was wondering is like, why is all this stuff happening to our people? At this time, we were getting shot up by the police, black on black crime.
Like the George Floyd thing was going on.
And the riots.
All of it.
All of that was going on, And I just started asking, why is this happening to our people? Why are we getting messed up? Like, we're the ones getting messed up, And it was crazy because a shop never gets quiet.
No automotive shop.
No automotive shop ever gets quiet. I'm working on the car, people got music playing, this and that. Why everything gets silent, dead silent, to the point where I can hear their conversation. He's talking to a couple other people. He was like, the people in the Bible are black. The curse is in Deuteronomy 28. And that's why everything is happening. I'm just like, whoa. What is he talking about? How all this stuff going on. Because it's like, yeah, I was kind of raised Christian. My mom wasn't, super Christian woman as far as going to church. Because I'm Haitian, We go to church and you believe in the book and stuff like that. But as far as the religion goes, it's not like she's reading the book to me every day, But she still had a faith. All in all, I never knew that the people in the Bible were black. The whole time I was like, okay, besides why this and that, and I went for it. So all these questions were getting answered by Mach and the Most High from then on out. Just everything added up. I changed my diet up. I was eating all this. I was eating pork, eating shrimp, all that, all of it. And just over time, after hearing the truth and hearing everything, it just started slowly cutting out. I've seen the whole transition. I went from bringing breakfast pizzas, pork, sauce, and all that.
Facts.
I wasn't even buying nothing.
I was kind of giving him the side eye when he walked in the shop with the
he used to mean mug me. And I see why though, because I feel him though. Because I used to walk right by it. I'd sit on his toolbox and everything. Looking back at it, I'm like, man, I'm happy I can spaz out on me for real. He could easily smack that thing off the toolbox and been justified for it.
But the Messiah told us to always walk in love. You know what I'm saying? And that's like I believe it. And I try to mimic him as best as I can. I'm not saying I'm perfect in any means or anything like that. But he always responded, like how with the woman at the well. Just for a quick story on that. If you read the story of the woman at the well in the scriptures, there's a woman, she was with like her fifth man, and he wasn't her husband. Yeah. But he didn't be like, oh, you dirty. Like he didn't cut into her, you thought nothing like that. But he showed love and compassion, and that's how he drew people, and that's how if you had ears to hear from the Father and eyes to see from the Father, love and compassion is always going to what's draw. I've heard it said. I heard it said by a guy. I was listening to some studies one time, but he said even if what you're saying is right, if you are saying it in the wrong, bringing it in the wrong spirit, you're wrong. Right. And that's so true. So that's why I never spazzed. But you know what I'm saying. But yeah, that's just what it is. Is you just gotta walk in love, and that's the thing. We live in a world right now. We see everybody, every nation, every country got their arms drawn, ready to go. It's super like you see there. Super smoke outside, like in like amongst the people. Like everybody like has no patience. Everybody's quick for violence, quick for anger, and that's like where's love? Yeah. But then it goes back to what the Messiah said. In the last days, he said, because lawlessness abounds, because the world doesn't walk in my Torah or in my instructions, you'll see love. Love will begin to wax cold.
Hey, that's Matthew 24, by the way, if they want to look at that.
Facts.
That's Matthew 24.
Facts,
if they want to look at that, read that chapter. And let you know exactly what's going on right now. But all in all, that's really my testimony now. I try and walk more and follow these laws and statutes. I'm just trying to get closer to the Most High as far as what's the truth and searching for the ancient path that we're really trying to do. And just helping our people. Because that's what it really is about. If we can help our people and the kids and generations, no tunnel we can all get to. We can actually become that nation of priests or whatever the Most High really intended for us.
Facts.
All in all, I want eternal peace. That's it. I'm not even a cap. That's really what it is.
Just peace. Yeah. Facts. I feel you. The Most High, love and life, and how do you get that is with peace too. So yeah. So I guess it's cameras on me now, huh? My turn for the testimony.
Yeah. I know you know.
All right. Well, all esteem to Yahuwah for everything, and may Yahuwah Barak all y'all, shine His face upon you all, and give you peace. Everybody who's watching now or may tune in later. All right. Man, my testimony is kind of layered because it happened over a course of time. But I guess I'll go with the significant point. And the main thing that kind of pushed everything going for real. Like Wizard said, I did music secularly. We both did worldly music. I was actually, working on a second worldly album at that time. Right. Ended up meeting, there was a cat that rapped. Shout out to Nova. I mean, if he checked this out, may he, hear this and hear that conversation we had years ago sparked today. And maybe it hopefully spark him to search out the truth and maybe repent and turn to the Most High. But basically, I went over to his spot and we were supposed to work on some music, right? We were supposed to work on a track. And it never happened. We ended up talking about politics and religion. Right. And, he had a different religious background as opposed to me, because I grew up a Christian. I was in the Apostolic Church. If anyone in the Lansing, Michigan area know about Bethlehem Temple Church, all that. So that was what I was raised on. Right. So he ended up asking some questions about life, basically. I can't remember the exact questions. But
I remember you telling me about it a long time ago.
Yeah, exactly. It was a while ago. But so he asked a question that stumped me because I understood life basically and moralities and things like that from the Christian standpoint, which when we realized how flawed that system is, we really didn't learn a lot. The Spirit gave what he gave to each individual. But anyway, so the question that he asked me, it left me very confused, left me very stumped. And that's why I'm going to real quick go to the scriptures real quick. And see, this works out beautifully. I'm in 2 Timothy and chapter 4. It says, in the presence of Elohim and of Mashiach Yahusha, who is to judge the living and the dead, and in view of his appearing and his kingdom, I solemnly urge you, proclaim the message, be persistent, whether the time is favorable or unfavorable. Convince, rebuke, and encourage with the utmost patience in teaching. For the time is coming when people will not put up with sound doctrine, but have itching ears. They will accumulate for themselves teachers to suit their own desires, and will turn away from listening to the truth, wander away to myths. All right. But basically, why I wanted to read that is because I was not prepared to rebuke, to defend, to do anything in regards to the faith. Because, like I said, I got stumped. So clearly coming from, I was not equipped from my Christian background to handle what was handed to me. But needless to say, but anyway, I was so stumped, it so messed me up that I actually prayed. Right. I prayed and I said, I want to know what the truth was. I don't care if it was Allah, I didn't care if it was Buddhist. I just wanted to know what the truth was. I didn't want to be lied to anymore. Right. So, and I want to make a quick sidebar. Prayer works. Prayers do get answered.
100%, man.
But
sometimes it might not be the answer.
It might not be the answer
we're looking for, but
it's always an answer.
Powerful.
And we'll have to probably bring that out one day. How to get your prayers answers. That might have to be a podcast that we'll have to do because people need to learn and understand.
Definitely gonna be an episode.
But anyway, so after I did that prayer, I was led to kind of I kind of like to say it is I looked into other different religions. I looked into something in my spirit when I started looking into it. I was something about the Hindu, I wasn't drawn to it, but my spirit was stay within the big three, basically. Right. So I looked more into Islam. I looked more into Judaism. And of course, because I grew up a Christian, I felt y'all kind of didn't help me. So I'm not kind of putting you on the back burner right now. So I looked at Islam, looked into the history of Islam, and was this boy only realistically came out around 600 AD. Right. So that's like listening to a baby. I'm not going to take the advice from a child.
Right.
So
It's still in its infantile stage.
compared to a grown up, the adult is going to know more than a child. So I'm like, okay, they might not know what they're talking about. So I'm like, let's look at Judaism, because that was one of the oldest religions in the world and everything like that. So I started looking into it and started reading the Old Testament, and I started looking at things like, wait, if these are Jewish people, how are they atoning for their sins? Because they need a temple. There is no temple. There is no, there's no Levite priests. These are all the things that are said in the scriptures that must be in place in order for proper atonement.
Right.
So
It has to be in order.
So exactly, it has to be in order. And I knew, of course, in Christianity, the pastor liked to go to Malachi 3, especially when it comes to the tithes and everything like that. But
Right.
Malachi 3, it's very important, because it does say, I, Yahuwah, I change not, so you don't perish, O house of Jacob, or house of Jacob. And so if he doesn't change, how are he allowing y'all? So, like, if he don't change and the order that he originally established isn't still there, how are you being atoned for?
Right.
And so, fast forward to all that, it turned me back to seeing the Messiah. But another thing I was looking at is, okay, I'm looking and leaning towards, I was kind of leaning towards Judaism, but then I went back to the Messiah a little bit. But then I started like, all right, we're going to do a one-all, clear-all for this. This is, the Ruach is just, I didn't know it at that time, but the Most High was giving me like the wisdom to ask the right questions, and to know what to seek out. Because there's a lot of info out here. And sometimes people get too much knowledge and then study themselves out of the truth, or study themselves out of what's real. So I really thank the Most High for his spirit guiding me through this process as I was growing, and as he continues to guide me. But like a question sparked me. All right, if this is real, we're going to see proof. There is going to be proof of the Bible. And so it started with looking at, I wanted to look at, all right, first off, I wanted to see the power. So I looked at, was Sodom and Gomorrah real? There's archaeological evidence of that, people. If you don't know, if you get, comment or whatever in the comment section or whatever, I can help get you that information. There's evidence of that. Yes. There's evidence of Mount Sinai when the Most High gave his commandments.
Speaking of Sodom and Gomorrah, that's one of the few places in the world where you find sulfur in its
purest form. Yeah, exactly. Shout out to Ron Wyatt. I know he's passed some years ago, but he did archaeological expedition on that in the 80s, I believe it was. Yeah. It was like the purest sulfur. They got it tested and everything. Mm-hmm. So I'm seeing that. I think it was Mount Algier. Forgive me if I slaughtered the name, but. But the top of that mountain, there's Google images of the top of that mountain still charred black, like blacker than this mic that I'm talking on right now, like black, like that happened thousands of years ago, and it's still like that.
Yeah, that must
heavily guarded.
Heavily guarded. Hey, you can't just go there. You can't just go tourist up to Mount Sinai like that. The real Mount Sinai.
Got people with weapons and all that. They posted around that thing.
What are they protecting?
Right, exactly. Yeah, see, these are things that we got. The plot thickens for another episode. We giving y'all episodes before we even get them. That's how the Most High works. His spirit works. But what got me, and like Ak mentioned earlier, because he was saying I was talking, and he heard me talk about how so-called black people, which I believe is the Kingdom of Judah from the research. Again, I can show you. Is the Kingdom of Judah, which happens to be so-called African American. But what got me was this right here, right? I read Deuteronomy 28, like he said. I'm going to read Deuteronomy 28, and I'm not going to read all the curses, but I'm going to read the one verse that struck me. Right. And it says in Deuteronomy 28, verse 68, Yahuwah, or you'll see the Lord, Yahuwah, will bring you back in ships to Egypt by a route that I promised you would never see again, and there you shall offer yourselves for sale to your enemies as male and female slaves, but there will be no one to redeem you. Right. So when I read that, I went into a history search. All right, these people went into captivity. And also with in Luke, I can't remember exactly offhand, but the Messiah even said when he was talking to the kingdom of Judah, he told them that they would be carried away captive to all nations, and that the land would be trodden down by the Gentiles till the time of the Gentiles is fulfilled. So with those verses in Scripture, I went and looked in history. And when you trace the history of the transatlantic slave trade, that happened to a group of people. This group of people got dispersed all throughout the earth, and they are called African. Those who are in English, or like in English, would be called African English or African Englandmen. Like here in America, it's African American. Right. They basically gave us, or Afro-European, I think it is. Excuse me. So they gave a certain group of people. They didn't even allow us to have a country in Africa. Africa got a lot of you from Zambia. You from a country in Africa, and there's many countries there. So we didn't even have the wherewithal to get a country.
Can't pinpoint that.
They can't pinpoint a nation that we came from, but we get named 2 continents. You're African American, you're Afro-European, you're Afro, so you get continent names.
What do they call that? As a matter of fact, there's a scripture where it says, it might even be on the same one, where it says you'll be called by a
byword. Yup, you'll be called by bywords. Right. You won't be known who you are. And then you could say like a lot of people say, to be politically correct, you'd call a person a white people of European descent, but Europeans generally know they're either Polish, German, Anglo-Saxon. They can name French. The country, French, they can name the country they originate. Even if they ain't been there in 50, 100 years, they can still know what country they came from, but why don't we? Right. You see what I'm saying? These are the things that I started seeing, and it said it only makes sense. And then it made me repent. It made me say sorry for all the wrong that I've done, and I sorry and turn back from the wrongs our ancestors done. And it caused me, because I realized that I descend from the children of Israel. I descend from the people written in this book. Right. What brought our curses? What brought that on us is our disobedience to our Creator. So I started going back. That's why I went back to Torah, back to the 10 Commandments, started going back to the basics. Right. As we, I played football. Anyone who's done in sports and any kind of thing, you got to go back to the essentials. You got to go back to the basics. And so I went back to the basics. So I stopped eating unclean. Right. I realized that Sunday was not the Sabbath, but the day they call Saturday. Right. So I switched and went to Shabbat. I stopped doing Christmas. I stopped doing Easter. I stopped doing all those pagan traditions that I did as a Christian. As a Christian, I remember going out trick-or-treating as a kid and doing Christmas and Easter eggs and all that bull.
I think I did once.
So I had really did a 180 as much as I could about my life, because I said I wanted to be pleasing because I seen the evidence. Right. And not only did I see the evidence, I'm going to say, like I said in the beginning of my testimony, I prayed. Right. So I asked for the truth and I received the truth, to the point now that and it's not to be bragging or boastful or anything like that, but because I know that the Spirit of the Most High guided me in everything that I understood and everything that I learned, that I want to go. Let me go holler at Pope Francis. Let me go holler at President Biden. Right. Let me go holler at Putin. The word. Why are y'all lying to the people?
Right.
Why are y'all lying to the people? I'm not worried about it. You know, like I said, Kingdom of Judah. If anyone knows anything about the scriptures, they know Judah was that lion tribe. Right. So I'm on my lion roar mode right now. I don't care who you are. The Most High is with me. Right. And if the Most High be for me, who can be against me? Yeah. And so I just want to let the truth know. And that's how I got here. That's basically the story. You know what I'm saying?
I'll say with the Most High, one person becomes a majority. You know.
Oh yeah. You know, one can put 1,000 to flight. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And 2, 10,000 out of here. So you got 3 chords right here. Right. Sheesh.
They're ready for it.
And it's so crazy too because like the difference between us here, because there's so much of a difference here. You know, we all had a question, which is a similarity. You know, but you guys were seeking. You know, you guys you were seeking for the truth in this. Now I'm not gonna lie. I was just trying to worry about daily life. You know, I was going through it at that time, you know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to bring everything together, things was happening, you know. I wasn't really searching, you know. If anything, too, at that time, somebody was trying to persuade me to go into being Muslim. Remember I told you about that? I remember you telling me about that. They were trying to persuade me to do that, you know. And it's crazy. It was like some type of internal battle.
Spiritual battle.
It was a spiritual battle, you know, because it's like they were telling me stuff about Christianity. And I was like, okay, you got that. You know, why do they take money? And, you know, we see all these neighborhoods, they got all these churches. Okay, you got that. You got that, you know, but there was still just something missing, you know. So, and I see what it was now. You know?
Yeah, and one thing I think for all of us, as you said, started off with a question.
Yeah, and I still had that question. If I didn't have that question, or if all of that wasn't going on, I probably wouldn't even asked or wondered. Honestly, to be real, you know.
And the interesting thing about how the Spirit works, you know, the Ruach Hakodesh, is that, like you were saying, there was a period in time where I was studying all these different beliefs, trying to make sense out of life. And a lot of them, I'll start looking into it, and then it just wouldn't vibe right. So, but what ended up happening with that is I acquired enough knowledge about all these other beliefs, and so when I measure it against, you know, the scriptures, it brings more light to why the world is the way it is.
Yeah.
Facts.
Yeah, and so it's. You know, you start to kind of understand, like, for instance, I was reading about Muhammad one day, and I was confused because I was thinking to myself, like, how is this guy, you know, like, the savior of this of this spiritual situation when he, you know, if you know anything about it, like, he marries this young girl at, like, 6 years old or something like that, you know, just a lot of things were off, and the type of advice he would give his followers, you know, was just completely off. So I've studied about all these things. Hinduism, I still have a Bhagavad Gita somewhere. You know, we use it for, like, references, like, so I could tell somebody, like, nah, see, it says this in your book. You know, that way.
Yeah, you gotta pull out their sword on this.
Yeah, facts, you know.
Comes the shield at that point, in a sense, because,
good period.
Right, you know, exactly, good period. Like, hey, what's this mean?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? This is what your book said, though. I don't even read your book.
Right.
Why your book say? So, yeah.
I remember there was a day I was invited by some Mormons to go and, you know, because they were under the idea that I was, you know, they were recruiting me. Mm-hmm. So I ended up going to their temple and completely cut that tree down. Because I'm telling them about things that are in their book. Like, if, you know, it says right here in your book that if you die as a bad person, you come back as a black person. This was one of the main points. Yes, that's in their book. There was 2 of them. One of them looks at the other one like, is that in there? The other was like, yeah, it's in there. So, you know, they were not prepared for that situation. So I ended up teaching them, you know.
I'm telling you, man, that Ruach be chopping legs.
Yeah.
Looking like Connie.
Real for real. Cut that tree down all the way from the roots.
Jeez.
I'd be surprised if they still Mormon to this day.
I mean, but we know that the Most High, at the end, He said He's gonna send a strong delusion. So it comes down to realistically, like said earlier, that you have to have eyes to see and ears to hear, and they have to be from the Father, because if not, then you are very easily deceived. And so that's what we try to do, here at Manna Cafe. Is our thing is like just to be truth. Manna, that's the bread from heaven, the truth. So that's what we want to do. We don't want religion involved. We don't want our own opinions, our own thoughts involved. Right. We just want to give you what the Most High said, and we want to use what we see in every day. You know what I'm saying? We got news that's going on all the time. Like I said, I read some, like I didn't even get to look at it. I was just looking at my phone briefly, and it was talking about China thinking about invading Taiwan. I don't know what it is or anything like that. I just read the header. So I don't, but it's like, but we know about things like that. Yeah. We know about inflation. We know about the child sex trafficking. We know about the amount of abuse. We know about the corruption in all government agencies. Right. There is nothing that is not tainted anymore. Right. So what we try to do is give, because like even the scriptures, we got people tainting that. Right. We got people tainting so much. Everything in this world is corrupt. It almost makes me want to think about Genesis, back in Genesis 6, I believe it is, or I'm gonna try to get there real quick. But just at Manna Cafe, we gotta give you some manna. Gotta get some manna. If you don't, you know what I'm saying? You don't want no manna, I don't know what to tell you. Right. You came to the wrong cafe.
I gotta be looking for it soon. It's getting dark out here, though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's getting dark out here.
And as it says, there'll come a time where, it won't be able to be
It won't be heard.
It won't be available. They already messing with our videos.
Right.
Oh yeah, they are. Yeah, they are already messing with our videos. We only got 4 in. They already. Oh man, but I'm looking right here, and let's see here, and yep, I'm over in Genesis 6. And I just want to read in verse 5. And Yahuwah saw that the wickedness of mankind was great in the earth, and that every inclination of the thoughts of their hearts was only evil continually. Mm-hmm. And Yahuwah was sorry that he had made mankind on the earth, and it was grieved in his heart. So Yahuwah said, I will blot out from the earth the human beings I have created, people together with animals and creeping things and birds in air. For I'm sorry I've made them. But Noah found mercy or favor in the sight of Yahuwah. And that's how we got here. And I'm going to just jump down, or I'm going to jump down to verse 11, where it says, Now the earth was corrupt in Elohim's sight, and the earth was filled with violence. And Elohim saw the earth was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted its ways upon the earth. Man, are we not seeing nothing but violence? Yeah. Is most people's thoughts, how many people have positive thoughts? You get looked at weird if you happy. Right. Come on now.
I'm happy all the time.
So, yeah, exactly. So when you're happy, you get looked at like you're weird. Like it's like if you're not negative, it's like so everything. And then all things on earth are corrupt. How much GMO stuff we got? How much chemtrail they spray in the air? How much chemicals they put in the water?
Everything.
Everything. Corrupted all flesh. I think there was something that happened a couple years ago that corrupted all flesh. That people was getting their lottery tickets for, all this and that. Yep. So
we might not mention it,
like
but I'm pretty sure they'll know.
I know if you know, you know. And so. Yep. I mean, what we're seeing is something I'm reading in Genesis in the beginning of the book where most of the Christian church, they don't go in front of there anyway. The law done away with, But for what I'm seeing is, nothing new under the sun. That's also an Old Testament thing. They don't like to say. But if we see that back in Noah's time, he brought the flood because everything was corrupt. Mm-hmm. The Messiah said, that in the last days, lawlessness will abound. Mm-hmm. It'll be like the days of Noah. Mm-hmm. Yep. So if we're looking in a time where the days we're living in now, we all can see that everything's corrupted. We can see that everybody most people are negative. Most people have violence in their hearts. Yeah. So what's coming next is what people need to really see. That's what we want to show y'all, is what we're saying is what's coming next. If we are already in corruptible state, if we already see everybody violent, you know what I'm saying? So what's next? Right. So that's why we did today.
The reset button.
The reset button. the final reset. Right. Real final reset.
Like I was saying earlier too, Matthew 24 is a good one for that.
Yep. Matthew 24.
Whenever you read that, boy, just talk about everything today and scarily what's to come.
Exactly. And I think that, and then today, that's why I think the Most High put it on our hearts to do the testimonial episode, because of the seriousness and the severity of what's really going on in the world, that our world powers ain't telling nobody. They just doing what they can do because they already done, I guess, made their covenants with death, so they trying to take everybody with them. But
that's exactly what it seems like too.
So you know what I'm saying, and that's where it's like we're not just some dudes out here trying to get a name for ourselves or trying to be, quote unquote Bible thumping or anything like that. Even though he will willing soon, y'all be Bible thumping. Hit the little song promo. It's gonna be coming. Song coming soon. Yeah, I got a song coming soon called Bible thumping. You will willing. But
album coming soon.
We can say that for later. we can say the album promo for later.
Oh, so that's gonna be a single.
So maybe we'll see what happens. We'll let the Most High work it out. But yeah, so we're not just out here, like I said, Bible thumping and trying to build a name for ourselves, but we are trying to, use what we've gone through, what we are continually going through, to try to share with people that this is the truth, man. We ain't got nothing to lie to you about. We ain't getting nothing for this. You know what I'm saying? Only thing that we hope is that it brings the esteem to the Most High, the one who deserves all the esteem. And that's it. Get them treasures in heaven. That's what the goal's about. Not for anything here.
The Most High gets the esteem. That's gonna be the solution right there. That's really it. It's the only reason why anything's happening to us. They have our back turned toward us.
Yeah, we're just messengers. We're here to deliver a message. And as we were talking about our testimonies and pertaining to the scriptures, that's basically the goal.
Yeah. Something edifying, real life situations that would possibly help somebody else. Right. That could be in something similar, or know somebody else that could be in something similar, change them back. Because it's all about these laws and foundations. The reason why we have an order and live our lives a certain way. There's a solution.
There is a solution.
Everybody talks about these problems and what's going on in the world from all these different avenues, but where's the solution, though? I'm here to flex and say, we got the solution.
Yeah, there's a solution. The Most High gave us a solution a long time ago. Right. But the thing is, we gotta want to walk in it. Right. That's where it comes down to. Because the one thing He told our people. Let me go. I'm gonna go one more script real quick. I'm gonna go into Deuteronomy. And where is it at here? I want to go into Deuteronomy 30. So yeah, I want to read in Deuteronomy 30, and I'm gonna start in verse 15. No, verse. All right, verse 11. I'm going to go up to verse 11. Surely this commandment, this is the Torah, this is Moshe breaking it down, but he already said the commandment. They already knew that they got the law. Surely this commandment that I am commanding you today, it is not too hard for you, nor is it too far away. It is not in heaven that you should say, who will go up to heaven for us and get it, for us that we may hear it and observe it. Neither is it beyond the sea that you should say, who will cross to the other side of the sea for us and get it for us, so that we may hear it and observe it. No, the word is very near to you. It is in your mouth and in your heart for you to observe. That is what it takes. It's got to be in your heart. Is it in your heart to love someone, or is it in your heart to hate someone? Is it in your heart to give to someone, or is it in your heart to steal from someone? Let's just break it real simple. See, verse 15, this is where I was trying to get. See, I have set before you today life and prosperity, death and adversity. If you obey the commandments of Yahuwah, your Elohim, or your God, that I am commanding you today, by loving Yahuwah, your Elohim, walking in his ways, and observing his commandments, decrees, and ordinance, then you shall live and become numerous. And Yahuwah, your Elohim, will bless you in the land that you are entering to possess. But if your heart turns away and do not hear, but are led astray to bow down to other gods or mighty ones and serve them, I declare to you today that you shall perish. You shall not live long in the land that you are crossing the Jordan to enter and possess. I call heaven and earth to witness against you today that I have set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Choose, keyword choose, life, that you and your descendants may live. It comes down to choice. He ain't even forcing choice. He's not even forcing us to choose life. He says, I'm laying both before you. You are going to know this is life and this is the path to life. This is death and this is how you get it. This is the path to death. You choose. And sadly, we live in a world that most people choose death.
Right.
So,
yeah, it's options. Like you said, it's solutions. This is a solution right here, these scriptures.
We just gotta be willing to choose it. Just gotta be willing to choose it. So, Leo, Sunshine, y'all got anything for out or y'all?
All esteem the Most High, y'all. Man, he brought everybody that may be watching this. May he hopefully edify everyone, and hopefully you guys enjoy what we got going on here. We just try to bring these real life topics to show you guys the spiritual side of these things. Definitely more to come on the Manna Cafe.
Hallelujah, hallelujah. So I guess with that being said, it's time for us to wash up some dishes and turn off some lights. It's time to close up the Manna Cafe. I pray y'all have enjoyed yourselves. And like Ma'at said, like we said, may Yahuwah Barak everyone. Bless y'all who all watched, and may it be edifying. And until next time, shalom, shalom.
Shalom, shalom.